Yo, what's up, everybody? Matty Ice back again with Profit Props, back with Joel. That's at JG for President. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Joel, profitable week last week, right? Both of us?
Yep, 5 units. Not too bad. I think 8 and 3. Scotty Miller, the gem of the century right there, I think.
I had a pretty good week as well, trying to look back. I believe I made just under 5 units, and I did hit a pretty nice ladder on Sam Darnold that I released last week on the show. We got 225, 250, 275. We didn't get the 300. They just didn't need it, but pretty good week for us last week. And I think we both got, no, I have 5 plays for today. You have 6 plays for today, correct?
I have 6 so far. Got some lanes to talk through as well, for sure.
Same here. I've got about 9 leans for us to go through as well. All right, let's start with the Thursday night game. I do have 2 plays in this one. It's Tampa Bay at Atlanta. This one opened Atlanta -3, quickly moved down. It's now down to Atlanta -1.5. Total hasn't moved a lot, though, sitting at 43.5.
Yeah, so the Falcons are a heavy zone team. 76.6% of the time they're playing zone, 17% man. Most of that's coming out of cover 3, 42%. About 14% cover 4, and then they'll mix cover 6 and cover 1 in. And then the Buccaneers, about the same. Even more zone, 84.4%, 13.8% man. Cover 3, 45.5%. Cover 2, pretty high up there too, 16%. And then cover 4, about 19%.
Nice. So I do have 2 plays for us in this game. I'm going Bijan. Well, what do I have up? Anytime Tutter, we can start there. I do have Bijan anytime touchdown up. This was a combination of trusting in Bijan, assuming he's going to get the red zone touches, and also just Tampa Bay's defense allowing a lot of rushing touchdowns this year. So against running backs, they've allowed 1 against Denver, 1 against Detroit, and 1 against Washington. But they've also allowed a few rushing touchdowns. Quarterback Jalen Hurts had 1, Bo Nix had 1, Jaden Daniels had 2. So there's been plenty of rushing touchdowns given up against this team. I know there's some concern about Bijan, but even if he loses a rush or 2, I don't think he's losing anything in the red zone. So when he has at least 1 rushing attempt in his career, he's over this, about 50-50 and over in 6 of the last 10. If we bump that up to 2 red zone attempts, which I think is very possible tonight, he's over this in 5 of 8 games. And he's also done very well against the division. When he's got 2+, he's over in each game. And even at 1+, he's over in 4 of 5, including a game against Tampa Bay. So I really like Bijan to score anytime tonight. I locked this in -101 just a few days ago, maybe yesterday, the day before. We definitely got some value secured, but I still like the 125 even at DraftKings.
I think from what I was looking at, Tampa Bay is one of the highest explosive run rate allowed teams in the league too, so I could just see him just housing one from far too.
Yeah, same. So that's kind of the hope with Bijan. That even
any concern about the hammy? It's a couple limited practices.
Yeah, I don't know. Tom Pelissero or whatever yesterday said that he was good to go for a full game. Yep. I hope to agree with that.
I'd agree. I think maybe some of his rushing yardage upside probably drops off a bit. Algiers probably comes up, just being on a short week with that hammy. But red zone, fine. And then your second play, which is, I think, the best one. I don't think Algier takes any of this away. But you can go ahead and give that one out.
Yeah, so I've been on this a couple times this season already. I love Bijan's receiving yards over this year. He's over it in 3 of 4, and he's averaging 4 targets per game. When he has 3 targets in his career, he's over in 13 to 17. And if we look versus Tampa Bay, Javonte Williams went over this number. Jahmyr Gibbs was just under, but David Montgomery went over. Brian Robinson went over. Eckler went over. We were on this play as well. So what is that? 4 of the 6 backs they faced this season have gone over their number. I don't think that stops with Bijan. Like you said, I could see him losing a rush or 2 or 3 rushes to Algier. I don't think he's going to lose much in the passing game, and I don't think he's going to lose much in the red zone. So I love Algier here. I've seen a few cappers on his receptions over. I like that as well, but I think the line was 3.5 plus money. I think he could easily cash this at 3. So that's why I went receiving yards.
Yeah, 24.5 is pretty low too. I think I actually think the Tampa Bay rush defense is a little bit they've been underperforming what their actual talent level is, in my opinion. Just with those like explosive runs that kind of like skew their stats a bit. And I think they'll start to like kind of lock that down and you'll see their run defense kind of get better as the season goes on. But good way to, an extension of your run game is like get the ball in the hands of your receiver. They've been running like wide receiver screens to him and stuff. So like they're doing creative ways to get the ball in his hands. So
yeah, and that's why I love this. Like he's going to get the targets in my opinion. If he gets 3, 4, 5 targets, I love this line. And it's not like he's going for go routes. He's getting 3 or 4 targets right around the line of scrimmage and looking to do something.
Yeah, and he's just good with the ball in his hands. Lean for me would be like I don't have anything in this game. My leans would be like I like Godwin a lot. I know that the Falcons are giving up a ton of yards to the slot, or like ton of targets to the slot. It's like one of the higher percentages of slot targets. They're third in slot target percentage, 41.3%. So Godwin's a pretty good look here today. I think if we could even like 6.5 receptions might be a solid look at plus money, but I would have played it if it was 5.5. I tried to put like an SGP together for him. I just couldn't get anything that worked for me, but I like Godwin and I like Bucky Irving's receiving yards a little bit. His snap share's been going up. I think 24% last week. He ran. Let me just see real fast. It was 6.5 earlier, which I like. But 3 targets, 0 targets, and against Detroit, and then 3 and 2 targets. But 42% of the snaps last week was the highest of the season for him. And he actually ended up running more routes than he had in any of the previous games. So he's taking Rachaad White a little bit off the field in the receiving game. So that's an interesting one at a really low line as he like starts to get more snaps.
I saw some people on Bucky's rushing yards as well, just because he's seen that increased kind of workload. One other thing, I want to circle back to Godwin. My projections on him are 74, which is enough of an edge. I don't know that I'm going to play it. And the reason is the short week. I worry that maybe I'm a little high on Baker's passing yards. That's something I'm going to monitor. I'm going to start monitoring my model versus Thursday night and see if there's like a common under. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm not taking this. I lean over here. I've got Mike Evans, I believe, right on market. So nothing for me on Evans. I like Tampa Bay. I was a big Brady fan. So I like those two guys. I couldn't find anything, though, between them either that really screamed to me that it was going to be a play.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just couldn't get anything in this game. Tough for me to read. I feel like both of these teams are like, in my head, they're the exact same team.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's so many guys to pick from on both teams, and it's like it's just difficult.
When I was looking at like the different coverages they run, like it's very similar.
So similar defensively, yeah. And then you've got just a bunch of weapons that like it could be any guy's day in both of these offenses. The way I see it.
One more sneaky lean I had in this. I did not play it, but I kind of like Kyle Pitts to score a touchdown. I think I saw something against cover 3. He had like a couple, like I want to say he led the team in red zone targets versus cover 3. And it was
this
like
season?
Yeah, I think so. And it was like 2 or 3. Like
you won't catch any of my money going on any sort of Kyle Pitts over props
ever.
I wanted it. If there was a 3.5 receptions line tonight, I would have hammered that under so hard.
I like it. Obviously I didn't play it, but we good to move on to the next game?
Yeah, sure.
We have a 9:30 a.m. Eastern time game this week.
Love it. Wake up directly into football.
I did not realize earlier in the week that we had a London game, right?
Yep, London.
Yeah. So this is Jets-Vikings. Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. I believe they were 3 at one point, so it looks like the Jets got a little bit of money. 40.5 seems to be the total, kind of painted. I'll let you go into the coverages.
Yeah, so two opposite ends of the spectrum here. New York's 6th highest man team, 35.7%, 62% zone. 32.6% of that's going to be cover 1, and then they'll follow that up with their zone coverages: 22.5% cover 3, 23.3% cover 4. Minnesota, on their other hand, a ton of 2 high, most in the league, 77.6% zone. 25.9% cover 2, 15.9% cover 3, 29.4% cover 4. And we have a play that goes off of that. I mean, we're both on the same one. I'm taking Allen Lazard over 33.5 receiving yards. And it's the fact that the Vikings are one of the heaviest blitz teams in the league. Let me just check their stats real fast. 40.8%. So the second highest blitz team in the league. And consistently throughout this season so far, Lazard's been kind of the hot guy. Him and Garrett Wilson have been the hot reads to go to when Rodgers has been blitzed. So when he's blitzed by 1 to 3 people this season, Lazard has the exact same target rate, 22%. And that's the same as Garrett Wilson, but we're getting 20 yards different line. So
no, I love like you said, I'm on Lazard as well. I'm going here to see what first read percentage is for him. It's 19-20%. So Garrett Wilson does have a higher first read percentage overall, but it's not.
But you'd expect that,
right? Exactly.
There's a 20-yard difference here, so it's not something you wouldn't expect. It's just so close that you just like the lower receiving yards here, and especially the way the Vikings have been against receivers this season. Almost everyone's feasting on them.
Yeah, I have the same read as you basically for Lazard. We both locked this in at 33.5. I think it's still good at 34.5. I have a projection of 51.65 yards. Now I also have Rodgers at 269 in that game. I didn't play that. I think we both talked about liking the over in that. What worries me is being in London. I don't know how that's going to translate. Playing at 9:30 in the morning. I don't know when they.
That's why I love the Jets +3. If I can get, there was a Jets +3 on MGM. I didn't take it, but I love the Jets +3 in this one. That's my favorite spread spot of the week being in London.
It's hard to go 5-0 in the NFL, bro.
It's really hard. It's right before the bye week. You're traveling all the way to London, and then you get the best defense you've probably faced yet in the Jets. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a full believer in the Vikings just yet.
So. I do have a lean in this game. Aaron Jones over, and I wrote this down last night, and I woke up this morning and had moved a little bit. I liked it at 62.5. There's still 64.5s available to me. I have a projection of 88 yards for Jones. So he's over even that line in 3 of 4 games. Let me see the New York Jets defense. 128 yards per game allowed. I haven't locked this in yet. I think what worries me is the attempts. He's got crazy attempts. My projection on his attempts is 18, but let's see what the market is because it wasn't. High. The market, it's still not really open. Maybe give that a refresh, but without the market telling me what it thinks the attempts are going to be at, I'm afraid to play this yet.
Sure.
What do you think the attempts open up at? Looking at his production this year. Oh, the market is open. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would have guessed 15.5. That's what it is.
So let me put 15 into my.
It's juiced to the under. I would expect. See, now I'm also scripting this as a negative game script compared to all the other game scripts they've had.
Yes, and that's the
kind of blowing teams out.
Yep.
And I said, I like the Jets to actually win this game. The Vikings have forced so many turnovers, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers has thrown a pick yet this year. But yeah, it'd be tough for me to get on Jones here.
Yep, that's an easy one to scratch off. Outside of Lazard, did you have any other leans? I know we both talked about Rodgers. Did you want to dive into that one anymore?
No, just the Jets +2.5. Yeah, I did have a lean on Braylon. Braylon Allen's under. What's his rushing and receiving?
We will find out.
I think 55.5. The Vikings are one of the best run defenses in the league. 45.5.
If it was 51.5, you should have smacked it, brother.
I forget what it was earlier. Either way, I like the under here. I think his rushing line is 33 or something. But this is one of the best run defenses in the league for one. So I think that maybe the Jets have to abandon the run a bit here, leading to him getting less carries. And he just hasn't, like, he's had a couple of designed like screens, but I think he had one target last week or something. Like, I just don't see him as like a big receiving back. One target last week. To me, like, I think there's value in this line. It's just a lean, though. I just left it as a lean. I like Lazard, and I like the Jets +3. If you can get a +3, I really like that.
One thing I wanted to touch here, I don't know if I spoke about it already or mentioned that I was going to talk about it. Lazard, anytime tutter, he's getting the red zone looks this year. He had 3 in the first game, 2 in each of the last. But when he's even getting 1 to 3, his numbers are pretty decent. And it's +310. I mean, this isn't like a -110. You know what I mean? This isn't up, but at +310 felt like value. I did not lock this in, but that would be my other lean in this game. Also think he's got like, hold on, let me see. Allen Lazard, team touchdown percentage. One second, I'll tell you. 29% of the tutters versus man, 19 versus zone. Yeah, not a big edge. I still like it. That's why it's a lean. All right, we ready to go on to your team? Dude, they got to figure it out this week. We got Cleveland. There's gotta be. Washington. Washington's a 3-point favorite. I honestly think that's a lot, but I feel like I'm saying that every week versus Cleveland.
We've said it every week. Well, the one week they did win, but
that's right. The one week they did win. +3, +3.5, even at some places. That 3.5 is tempting to me.
That's tempting to me.
Let me see. Total is at 43.5. There's some 44s out there as well. Looks like there's even a 45 offshore. So there's some debate on where the total should be. I'll let you go over coverages, and we'll break down our leans in this game.
Yeah, Cleveland is a heavy man coverage team. 3rd highest in the league, 42.6%, 52.9% zone. They're also going to run the highest one high looks in the league, so 74.3%. So big plays against this defense. 40.4% of the time that'll be cover 1, 33.1% of the time cover 3. That's pretty much all they run. And then for Washington on the other side, they'll run man at a 28.8% rate. Mostly going to be too high, 60% too high. 18.9% cover 1, 23.5% cover 2, 22.7% cover 3. So they'll kind of mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
And I got 2 plays in this one. I played a full unit on Deshaun Watson's over 1.5 passing touchdowns. To me, at +170, just too much value when 20 out of the last 26 quarterbacks have thrown 2+ passing touchdowns against this Washington team.
Wow.
So far this year, yeah, I mean, when you just look at it, it's crazy. So far this year, they like number 1 in the NFL in touchdown passes allowed. And then, yeah, like their secondary is really bad. I watched the game last week. Deshaun should have back-to-back games of 2+ touchdowns. He threw an 80-yard touchdown to Amari Cooper that got called back. He actually looked the best he's looked to me in a Browns uniform last week. Unquestionably, like not even close. He was standing in the pocket. He was kind of delivering dots. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot with penalties. And yeah, I mean, he looked good. He gets Njoku back likely. 3 of his offensive linemen logged limited practices today. This just feels like a spot where it's like the perfect storm for him. And now it's 175. That's crazy. Okay. I got it at +170 though. So
you locked it in at DraftKings?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Fanatics is the only one at that one.
That's a Mickey Mouse book anyway.
Yeah, everyone else is cheaper. I love that read. And again, I love that we're doing this. Again, this isn't a -110. We're not going to lay -200s on you ever for sure. This is a +170. I like the analysis. I mean, I was not aware of this. This alone just
20. Bro. 20 of the last 26. And look at the guys who missed. Mac Jones.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's the one bad one.
He probably didn't need it.
Josh Dobbs. I think he got hurt.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Allen, they were probably just whooping ass, and they just kept running the ball.
I mean, this secondary's just not good. And when you factor in the fact that I think the Browns have 2 rushing touchdowns from running backs this season,
Wow.
and that's it. Their offense is mostly like all just on the shoulders of Deshaun, at least until Nick Chubb comes back. Their running back room is just not good, and they don't get much push.
I know you cannot wait for Chubb, bro.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he came off the practice. He came
limited.
Off 21-day practice squad, right? What do you
21-day window right now.
2 weeks out, maybe.
I'm thinking they might use the full 3 for him, but
okay.
Even when he comes back, he's probably like 10 to 12 carries.
Hey,
but still, it's better than nothing.
Especially
got to get that offensive line healthy first, though. But yeah, I love this Deshaun play, though.
You got one more for us, right?
I do. I have Amari Cooper over 51.5 receiving yards. He's just been a drop monster this year. Leads the league in drops, 8 drops. The targets are definitely there. The air yards are there. He's one of the highest in the league in terms of air yards. And then when you look at the coverages that Washington runs, he has a 28% target share against them. Does he have a receptions line?
Let's see if it's out.
Check.
I'm not seeing any.
I'm sure it's going to be like 3.5. When he has like over 4 receptions, I think he covers this all the time. Wide receiver ones have also just cooked against this Washington team. It's just like basically a system play at this point for me. Yeah, Godwin 8 for 83, Evans 5 for 61, Neighbors had 10 for 127, Chase 6 for 118, and then we had Harrison last week who didn't hit, but I would take that again in a heartbeat. He's got 406 air yards. He just hasn't been coming down with him. He's just all he has to do is catch the football, and he's going to clear this easily. Dropped an 80. He covers last week. He had an 80-yard touchdown. He dropped a 20-yard dig, just bounced right off his chest, right into the hands of the defender for an interception. So it's just hard for me to not take this one.
I like this read a lot too, man. Deshaun's got to throw for like 250 this week, bro.
That's it. Dude, he opened at 234. I was hoping we'd get like a 200, and I was just going to hammer that, but they were onto it.
All right. Any leans for this game? Let me actually check.
I do have some leans. Well,
I don't have any
McLaurin was at 55.5. I had to lean to the under, so that's already moved, it seems. What's Noah Brown at? 31.5. I lean under him as well.
I'll tell you where I'm at.
His target share is just really bad. It's like 8% against man, and the Browns are going to come with a lot of it.
21.63 for me. Yeah, I definitely lean under.
What about Terry? That was at 55.5.
44.07.
I probably should have scooped one of those. I honestly see Jaden Daniels struggling in this one more than he has so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's played a lot of zone teams so far, and I just think that I don't think the Commanders have the playmakers to really go with the Browns man corners and really create like all that much separation.
We've talked about it every week. This will be the first week I think neither of us want to play it. But we talked about Jaden Daniels rushing, passing over. This is the one week, like when it opened, I was like, oh, when his passing yards opened, I was like,
did he hit it last week?
Let's double check. Passing yards. Jaden Daniels, love they added the line history. Yep, cleared it.
Passing and rushing, though.
My fault.
It's 4 straight weeks that we just haven't played it, and he's done it every time.
I can't do it this week, though.
I don't either, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is the week not to do it, bro.
That's 4 straight. We should have just been – that's the wagon of the century right there.
Yeah, it was. Well, we'll see after Cleveland. Maybe we'll get a discount.
I'll say – does he have a rushing attempts line yet?
No, I'm not seeing
If this drops at 9.5, I'll be all over it.
Over or under?
Over.
Really?
He's run on, I think, like 45% of his pass attempts when he's pressured.
And he's going to get pressured. Yeah, that's a great read.
He's a scrambler when he gets pressured. Like, he doesn't really run to pass. He's just taking off. He's just booting out of there. So I think the Browns bring a lot of pressure in this one. They're not even like that high in pressure rate. They're like middle of the pack, but they've been blitzing more, 31%. You get a rookie quarterback, I think you probably blitz more. Myles Garrett there, I think he's going to be taken off.
I would like to see what Austin Eckler's receiving yards open up at, but then again,
Brian Johnson looking like he's going to be out for this one. Or Brian Robinson. Why did I say Johnson?
We were talking about him. That's coming up, right? Is that his name?
Who?
Jacksonville.
Oh, Brian Thomas.
My fault.
Well, yeah, there's too many Brians in this league.
Right.
Yeah, looking like he's going to be out. So you might get a trash line on Eckler because of that.
That'd be sweet. All right. Anything else in this game?
Nah, just go Browns.
Go Browns. All right. We got Baltimore, Cincy, AFC East matchup. I have a play in this game. We'll go over the line. Baltimore at Cincy. Baltimore is a 2.5-point favorite. Total on this is 50.5. There are 51s. It's definitely the highest total in the league. The only one rivaling this is Arizona. I'll let Joel go into coverages, and then we do have plays.
We do. We both do. The Bengals, 10th highest in the league in man rate, 30.8%. Most of that's coming in single high. 26.3% cover 1, 29.3% cover 3, and then they'll mix in cover 4 and cover 2. And then the Ravens, they'll play a lot of man as well, 27.1%. 17th in the league, but that's pretty much right in line with the Bengals. 23% cover 1, 26.5% cover 3, and then 22% cover 4. That's one of the higher in the league right there.
Do you want to transition into your play first?
Yeah, I'll take mine first. I'm on Zay Flowers here, over 4.5 receptions. Just looking at the coverage data, a lot of cover 1 and a lot of cover 3 coming from that Bengals side. And this year so far, a 27% target share for Flowers. He hit the first 2 games. He misses the last 2 where Lamar Jackson only threw 15 and 18 times. And so he had like 12 pass attempts in the first half against Dallas. And then I think he had like 13 pass attempts in the first half last week. And then it just falls off a cliff. I think this game stays close enough at least to force Lamar to at least pass 25 plus times. And if Lamar passes 25 plus times, I like this bet. I'll say the rush defense does concern me. I think that the Bengals have to kind of sell out to stop the run here if they even want to be in this game. And he's got a 28.5 passing line. So if he throws 28.5 times, I think we get 7 to 8 targets. And I think he covers this. He gets a lot of easy targets at the line too. So like high quality targets. So I like him to go over 4.5 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, even if he gets 5, his career numbers with 5+ targets are stupid.
Yeah, the Bengals just have to hang in or even lead. And I could see the Bengals leading in this game. It's one of those divisional games where I don't like to game script it too much because these are like 2 teams. They know each other and like just weird things happen in these divisional battles.
I like to game script. Divisional games is usually being pretty tight. I think 2.5 is a good one on this. I think Baltimore is a slightly better team, but I don't see this definitely being beyond a touchdown game personally. And I'm not even big on Cincy. Just like you said, these 2 teams are familiar. I think Baltimore defensively, they've shaken a few things up. They lost Patrick Queen, etc. I think their coordinator went to Seattle. But Burrow's familiar with them. Chase is familiar with them. I think this game stays close enough. But that will transition us into the next game. I do believe. Wait, did you have another one?
Did you say next game or did next play? Next play.
My fault. Next play.
There you go.
Derrick Henry over 83.5 rush yards for me.
There you go.
First of all, he's over this in 3 straight. And before I dive into him even further, let's talk about some of the running backs versus Cincinnati. Chuba Hubbard had 104 yards. Let's just look at running backs here. Ramondre Stevenson had 120 yards. And
Pacheco
had 90 yards, right. Those 3 guys over in 2 straight weeks have all dominated this team. There's no way in my mind that Derrick Henry doesn't also dominate this team. I was waiting for his attempts line to come out to kind of see where the market thought he would be at. He's averaging 20 attempts per game. The market has him at 18 and a half. Juice to the under, but I looked, let's just say he's somewhere around 16 attempts. I think we have a floor for him at 16 attempts outside of Cincinnati just beating the brakes off of him in the first inning, first half, which I don't think will happen. I think Henry has a floor of 16 attempts and really no ceiling, assuming they get up. Even if it's a 7-point lead, third, fourth quarter, I think there's going to be a lot of carries to go around.
I agree. The only way you don't have that is if it's like a 2-score lead. I don't see that happening here.
Agreed. 1,000% agreed.
Especially with how bad this Bengals defense has been. I mean, it's been one of the worst in the league, I think.
Very easy to move the ball against this team. So he's over in 69% of games when he gets at least 16 carries. And the other thing is how many yards per attempt they're allowing, 4.4, while Henry's averaging 5.6 this season, which is somewhere here. Yards per attempt here. Let's just say he even averages just 4. I think 4 is very conservative here. 4 attempts on 16 carries. He's over this almost all the time. So, yeah, that's my play. I love it. People were asking me about anytime touchdown, not for the price. These prices are crazy for a touchdown. I'm not doing
that. That is crazy.
I do have a lean on a touchdown here, though. It's Chase, and I think the line's already moved. Oh, my God. This was 160 yesterday. Oh, I hate myself so much. But his red zone targets, they're crazy. That first game, he didn't do all of training camp. So I kind of scratch off that first game versus New England. He has at least one in each game since then.
I do have another lean in this one. I want to get your thoughts on – this is a weird one, but Mike Gesicki and Eric All have been kind of splitting time. But Mike Gesicki's the one running the receiving routes. I'll just pull up what last week was.
37 and a quarter if you're going for the over, because I like it too. It's just ugly.
For the touchdown?
Oh, no, I like the touchdown read too, bro. I bet it last week. He didn't score, but I bet it. But no, I was leaning receiving.
Same. So last week, Gesicki ran 17 routes, and Eric All ran just 9. So for them to have such a tight line here, I think something's amiss because he's running the actual routes. And Eric All, I watched back every single one of his catches. He's just getting little flat dump offs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had 4 catches. He had 4 catches last week on 9 routes, which tells me, like, honestly, I like the under there.
Yep.
And then I like the over on Gesicki. The thing is that Titans have been eating up the Ravens. You can look at it there. Kincaid, 47. Ferguson had 95 yards. Bowers had 98 yards. The one that didn't was Kelsey, but then you have Noah Gray, who came in with 37 yards. So I don't understand why Gesicki is so low, and I don't understand why All's at the same line as him. So, like, I can't decide between which I would rather have, which is the Gesicki over or the All under.
I like Gesicki.
9 routes is like terrible number of routes to have a 2.5 reception line. He's basically got to have a 30% target rate. Like, you're telling me for Eric All to have 3 receptions, if he's going to run 10 routes, he basically has to have a 30% target rate. And he's had that so far this season. It's like a 40% target rate. That I just don't think that's sustainable.
See, I'm right on Eric All's number. Market's 19 and a half. I'm at 18.21. But Gesicki, I am at – hold on, let me pull it back up again. 37 and a quarter. I lean Gesicki over a lot. I actually told one of my Discord followers that's a big Bengals fan. He was asking for parlay legs. I'm like, I might not play this, but I like Gesicki's over.
Yeah, I mean, I lean that way as well. Let me just go back to week 3 real fast.
He had one.
There's a split. So 17 routes. Yeah, like it was 21-9, and Eric All still had a 30% target rate that week. 40%. Like, that's crazy to me. 44% target per route run.
Doubt he sustains that. Should be more looks.
Gesicki's way. I agree. He's running more routes. I like that one a lot, actually.
I do too. I'm going to write that one down. There was a couple plays last week where we talked about it on here, and then I ended up releasing it. Don't be surprised if that's one of those ones. Anything else in this game for you?
No, I think that was it for me. I do like. I mean, it's tough for me to decide between the Bengals pass catchers. I think they have just a few really good ones outside of like, obviously, like I mean, you got T Higgins and you got Jamar Chase. Like, it's hard to decide who's really the one to go off this week, but.
I think, Devontae had 110 and Rice had 103. Yeah, they got cooked by ones in the very beginning, but then the last 2 weeks they haven't. So, like Buffalo, Shakur had 62. Although Coleman did drop like a 30-yard pass that fucked me in a parlay. So yeah, he could have easily went for 80. So I don't know. Definitely not going to touch it. We good to move into the next game?
Yep.
All right, we've got. Hold on, let me make sure I pull the right one up. Cleveland or Buffalo, Houston?
Yep.
All right, Buffalo, Houston. Buffalo is a 1-point favorite, almost a pick 'em at this point. Total 47.5. Third highest total I'm seeing on the board this week. Obviously, Diggs back. Well, Diggs playing Buffalo. They're playing in Houston, but Diggs versus Buffalo could be a little revenge narrative. Let me see if I have any plays. Don't believe I have any plays in this one, but we'll let Joel go over coverages, and then I do have some leans.
Yes, the Bills are going to be a heavy zone team, 76.6%, 16.9% man, mostly coming in cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4. Cover 3 at 25%. It's like their highest. Very high, too high. So they're the 4th highest at running 2 high looks. The Texans, on the other hand, 28% man. And then 57.6% or 61.2% zone. Sorry about that. 27.3% cover 1, 26.6% cover 3, 26.6% cover 4. I have a lean in this one too. And it's CJ Stroud under 35.5 longest pass or longest completion. Gross one because of the weapons he has. But when I look at the data, it's hard for me to not play this. They've only allowed the Bills have only allowed 5 passes over 20 yards this season. The longest they've allowed is 26 yards, so not even coming close to that 35.5 number. And when you're looking at them playing that much too high, obviously, like what they want to do is take away everything over the top and just keep things underneath. I think quarterbacks are averaging the lowest yards per attempt on them against any other team this season. 5.51 yards per attempt.
Third lowest completion too. I love this play. -120. He had the one bomb week 1. I'll say I won't play it. I think we talked about this actually. Nico and Diggs.
And double back.
Yeah.
I still might be playing this. Like, it's just, I mean, he's only over in 38%, right? So you have the edge there. And then when you look, I mean, these aren't like bad quarterbacks he's holding to under either. Like, this was Kyler Murray, 24-yard longest completion. Tua with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, 21-yard longest completion before he got hurt. Trevor Lawrence, 24 yards. And then Lamar, 26. But Lamar didn't really throw much that game. I don't know. This one might be one I'll be on, though. I'm just contemplating it right now. If Dell is ruled out officially, I'll 100% be on this. But it looks like Dell's going to play.
Dude, I got half my fantasy team out. Of course, I had round 1, pick 1, took fucking McCafferty.
Yeah, I have a league with that, too. That's painful.
I tried to trade him, too, before the season started. I wanted a second and a third. Now I wish I just took anything. All right. For me, my lean was Nico's over. I've got him at 100 yards again just because he's been doing stupid things. But against this Bills defense, I'm very afraid to take that. 83.5 is the market number. It looks like MGM may even be at 78.5. My number is 102 yards, but I think maybe the combination of Diggs getting an extra target or two, paired with the fact that this defense is so good, will just keep me off of this one completely. Go ahead.
I'm just going to tell you right now that your projection for Nico Collins is going to be 100 every single week.
Yeah,
it's going to be 100 every single. He's that good.
I know,
and he kills every coverage.
Yep. Last week I was at, I think, even 120, and I was 30 yards under it. That's crazy. So yeah, I would not be surprised or shocked at all if he goes for 100. This is just one of the few teams that I'll probably not play that against. I think Houston's just as good as Buffalo, so I don't think there's going to be a game script here where they're down several possessions. And while they like to throw the ball a lot already because they're so talented, I'm just not taking it.
Yeah, other than that under, like, I'm probably staying away from this game as much as possible. I think Dalton Schultz is having some value, though, early in the season. Like, he's playing so many snaps.
I'll tell you my
Not Kincaid, Schultz.
Schultz, I have
Schultz against too high.
I'm at about 25 yards. I have no opinion at all on this one. But you said he's good versus too high, and his targets have been going up.
Yeah, he's just playing so many snaps. Like, he's on the field almost constantly for them, running almost every route, but production just hasn't been there.
Yeah, my model was right on. For Diggs, for anyone interested, I'm at like 66 yards. So there's an edge there too, but I'm not taking it against this team.
I can't either. I like his under longest reception, though, actually.
Under 19 and a half. Okay.
Well, 20 and a half on.
Yep, I see those.
Yeah, just he's got like the lowest ADOT on that team. Let me just look it up real fast. I think it's like 5.8 yards. And then when you get Dell back, I think he slips back into a more underneath routes type player, 7.2 yard ADOT. So pretty low there. He's really like, they want to use him as that underneath guy to just like kind of rack up catches.
Yep.
It's not really like a downfield threat in this offense.
I agree. They've got Nico for that. Tank's fast as hell too. Yeah, nothing else from me though. Let me see what my number was on Coleman. I think I was actually at 50, but
50.
No,
I like Coleman.
I'm lying. I'm at 29.34. 50 for Shakur, but I think that's what the market is. Yeah, market's at 51. Running
I almost
back.
played Coleman last week too.
Let me go through the running backs. Let's just see. So 69 yards for Cook. Let's see where the market's at.
70, I think.
58 and a half. I would lean over here. Let me look Houston versus running backs. Bigsby had 90. Jones had 102. Chicago didn't do shit.
Oh, it's Chicago for you.
They held Taylor to 48. I remember that. I needed him 50 in a parlay. That was disgusting.
Really?
Yeah. It was Taylor and Najee both to have 50. And Najee had like 63 and Taylor had 48. It's disgusting. Bro, I've lost so many fucking just cheap little 1 and 2 yards this season.
Yeah, that's crazy. I hate that.
James Cook, 50 and a half, had 50. No, that was who's the running back for Arizona?
Connor.
James Conner. Yeah, 50 and a half, he had 50. Lamar over 48 and a half, he had 48. He slid. There's a couple. Jonathan Taylor there. Nothing for me on Cook. Let me see. Joe Mixon, did he practice today? Did he miss to get today?
He missed again, I think.
Okay, so tough to tell on there. Anything else in this game?
Let me check. I got nothing else on this one, so I'm fine to move to the next game. Mixon did not practice.
Indy Jacksonville. This one's tough for the reason of, is Anthony Richardson playing?
I think he is. I heard he was talking about how he feels a lot better. So it's an oblique injury. It held Kenneth Walker out for a while, but.
Well, we'll go over sides and totals. I'll let you go over coverages. I know you have a play in this game. Jacksonville is a 3-point favorite in this game. Total's currently 46.5. I believe Jacksonville's 0-4.
They are 0-4.
Jacksonville's 0-4.
Not good.
I'll let you get into coverages here. I know we have a play
Yeah.
And let's go.
Indianapolis, heavy zone team, 76.5%, 13.7% man. Mostly all that's going to come from cover 3, 43.1%. And then 17% of that will come from cover 2. And then as far as Jacksonville, heavy man team, 46.3% man coverage. Mostly going to come from cover 1, 38.8%, 25% cover 2. So, like, that's one of the highest marks in the league as well. I'm playing Brian Thomas Jr. The stats against cover 3 so far this year have just been crazy. And just the way the Colts just keep giving up huge games to number 1 receivers. It looks like Brian Thomas, number 1 outside receivers, I should say. It looks like Brian Thomas is kind of establishing himself as that in this Jaguars offense. 9 targets last week, 9 targets this week. So far this year against cover 3, 26.7% target share, 3.97 yards per route run. So, like, that's excellent stuff right there. Nico Collins, 6 for 117. Odunze, 6 for 112. Pickens, 7 for 113. So they're just giving up a lot to those outside guys. Had to play this. I will say the one concern is Evan Ingram does return here. So
When you and I were talking about this one earlier, when I seen you release it, I definitely like this one as well. My projection for him is 63.41 yards. So there's definitely enough of an edge there at 51.5. Is that what you locked it in at?
I got 49.5.
You got 49.5. Looks like there's still 50.5s out there. And honestly, if you go to a book and hit 50 plus, it might not be worse than 125. So I lean this way as well. Like I said, my model's at 63.5. So
I really like Christian Kirk's under as well. I would be curious to know where your model has him at.
47.17.
Okay.
So a little bit under.
Yeah, his target share against cover 3 drops way off. It's like 8%. It's so low.
Yeah, and with Ingram coming back, I could definitely see my model still being a little inflated there. So 40, I could see 40 being like a true number, 42 maybe.
Like both of those.
I do too. Definitely lean heavier to the play you released, though. I might, like I said, I might be on that one for the weekends. Any other leans?
There's like nothing out in this game really so far.
Yep. Let's just keep it moving on this one.
Yep.
Carolina, Chicago. I do have a lean, although not an official play. Carolina is a 3.5 point dog. Basically 3.5 everywhere. Total on this one's 42. One of the lower totals this week. Definitely not the lowest. We'll get to that one. No plays for me. Like I said, I do have a lean. Joel, I know you were going to go over coverages for us and then see if you have any leans.
Yeah, so Carolina's the heaviest cover 3 team in the league at 52%. They'll only play man at 17% and zone at 79%. So 52% cover 3, 16.8% cover 1. And then the Bears will play man at 22% and zone at 74%. Most of theirs has also come from cover 3, 35.1%, and then 20.6% cover 1. My lean in this one, I don't. Yeah, you can go ahead.
My lean is Caleb Williams under passing yards. I had a lean on this last week. I didn't play it. I haven't projected at. Hold on, sorry. Should have pulled this up while you were doing coverages. Bears, where are you?
He's just terrible, isn't he?
174.8 is what I haven't projected at, bro. He's just not been that guy. Let me pull it up here. Passing yards.
I saw a stat that his like off-target throw percentage over passes 15 yards is like 54% or something like that.
That's crazy.
Leads the league.
So what worries me is Carolina, although only one person's gone over this line, it's like nobody's needed to go over this line really. So that's what worries me. If I know Chicago's the favorite, but with a rookie quarterback, they could easily go down in this game.
Oh, yeah.
He had a game with 50 attempts?
53.
That's nuts. 31.5 is the line. That's, I think, what worries me here. Let me throw 32 attempts in my model and see what it tells me. Well, my model's at 31 point. So I'm at 176. Yeah, no. I'm probably going to be on this. I got no faith in Caleb Williams.
I have 0 as well. He's just been bad. He just, like I said, like that stat tells the whole story. If you can't complete passes over 15 yards off target, you're throwing him off target over 50% of the time.
Bro, his pass on target is at 25% this season. That's awful.
That's horrible. Look at those poor passes.
Do I just play it now?
What do you have? What's your projection?
174.
Wow. Tough one for me because I don't really have any faith in that Carolina defense.
See, and that's the thing. And I also lean under more in Keenan Allen, but that's revolved around this guy only throwing 100
You lean under or over?
Under on both, but again, it's tied to this.
See, now I lean over on Keenan Allen.
You lean over on Keenan Allen. Let's look at it.
I do lean over on Keenan Allen. He had 11 targets the first week against cover 3. This is heavy cover 3.
Okay.
But they got DeAndre Swift really involved in the pass game last week. He also he's going to avoid JC Horn, which I think makes the matchup really bad for DJ Moore on the outside and better for Keenan Allen on the inside, in my opinion.
Swift's getting a lot of targets.
Yeah, he burned me last week. I had Roschon Johnson over 7.5 attempts, and he ended on 7 because DeAndre Swift was just running and catching wild. Guy was going crazy last week.
My projection's 25.9, so there's 0 edge.
Receiving yards?
Yeah.
Oh, that line's not even out. That's not even a line.
Oh, okay. That's hilarious. Let's go see what his rush yards are at. 50.5. I'm at 55.18. Lean over.
I would lean over as well, but he's been so terrible at the one game that it's like I could never even.
I can't game script a game with a rookie too, so we good to just move on that one?
Yeah, I think that's all I had.
Okay. Miami, New England, man. There's a couple ugly games on this slate. Dude.
I don't want anything to do with this game whatsoever.
Do you want to skip it?
I mean, we could just go over it real fast.
All right, I got nothing, but we'll go over it real fast. I got Miami at New England. It's in New England. New England is a 1-point favorite. Total on this one, lowest total on the board, 35.5. Just going to be an ugly game. Joel, go ahead and give us the coverages. And
30.5% cover 3 for Miami. They'll run man at 22%. That's mostly going to come from cover 1. And then New England, one of the heavier man teams, 40%, 30.1% that comes from cover 1. They'll run cover 2 is like their secondary coverage, 23.5%. I don't really have much. I think Tyreek Hill probably gets over his receiving line somehow, but I don't really want to touch it with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. I was hoping Tyler Huntley would drop at a nice low rushing number again. He's at 33.5 or 34.5. Not something I really want to get involved in either, but I mean, I'm sure they draw something more up for him this week, but
if I had to give you a play, I think I'm not going to play this, but if I had to give you a play, wow, they have his attempts at only 12.5. Who's the other back in New England?
Antonio Gibson.
I've got Stevenson.
Madra?
Yeah, I've got him at about 70 yards. So
I don't hate that at all. I actually think that's a good play, to be honest.
If I had to make a play in this one, fellas, this would be it. Stevenson over 58.5 rush yards. If I had to give you one.
Because it's just going to be ugly. It's going to be one of those grinded out, like, all right, let's just hand it off to Ramadre a bunch of times game.
For anyone interested, I do
That's only on Underdog and Sleeper, though. So, like, that's not even the real book line.
That's not even a real line. Yeah, exactly.
Under, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I got him around 1.
That is like such a terrible line. 158.5. If you're taking an under on that, like, Godspeed to you.
Bad.
You got nuts of steel.
What happened to the NFL I loved?
Damn. When he was playing with the Browns, he was slinging that bitch around a bit.
I know. What happened?
I don't fucking know. Tyler Huntley's at 159 too. Like this is just this might be the grossest game of all time. It's not even like a weather game either. Like this is going to be like good weather. Like,
yeah.
Let's just move on.
I like it. Arizona, San Francisco. I think I have one lean in this one. Maybe we can talk It's through. Arizona is at San Francisco. San Francisco is a 7.5-point favorite, although there's a few sevens out there. Total on this one's pretty high, 49.5. Should be a decent game. Joe, I'll let you get into the coverages.
Yeah, Arizona, heavy cover 3 team, 38.8%, 18.2% cover 1. And then San Francisco, more heavy on the man coverage side, 31.3%, 29% of that's cover 1, and then 26% cover 3. And then I played Jordan Mason in this one, over 85.5 rushing yards. I just think his role is like so good. Isaac Guerrero last week fumbled at his only carry, so I don't think there's much trust there. Like he came out, played 1 snap, fumbled, and then didn't play the rest of the game. And then I legitimately have this as one of the best matchups in the NFL for like running backs. There's like over a 60%. The Cardinals are allowing over or 59% success rate on runs. And the guy's just been a monster. He's going over 100 yards against teams like the Vikings, who are really good run defenses. It's just one of those systems, Kyle Shanahan's system, that just produces runners.
This is a play.
Easily.
This is a play that I'll probably. We were talking about this one before the game or before the stream. I'll probably tell you on this one. We spoke about the reason that I haven't played it yet is because I'm already on Derrick Henry over 84.5. So that'll be 2 guys. But my projection here is 121. Huge edge. I agree. He's going to touch the ball 20 times.
Yeah, and he should. I mean, he's just been that good. And he's just a bruiser. He's averaging over 3 yards per carry after contact this year. So,
yep.
Crazy stuff.
I have nothing to disagree with this one. I really like this play, and I honestly believe this play plays into my lean. My lean is going to be Marvin Harrison over 52.5 receiving yards.
I like this.
So he only had 3 targets in week 3. Since then, he's had at least 6 in each game. And hold on, let me pull up my stats here. All right, so you said San Francisco runs the 9th most man in the league. Marvin Harrison, 42% target share versus man, 10.7 yards average depth of target, 9.33 yards per reception, much lower versus zone, but these aren't slouch numbers. And 54% of the team yards so far versus man coverage. So I love this. I really, really love it. My projection is 1 second. My projection is 72, man. I really like this play. I don't know that I'm going to play it, but I probably will play it.
I'll give you a stat real fast. San Francisco, 4th highest team in the NFL in terms of target rate to the wide receiver, like wide side target.
Which is where he's
not going to the slot. He's going out to the X. That's where he plays, so it kind of supports your play here.
I wish on, you know how on the app they have the routes? I wish I could pull that on here. Oh, another cool feature. I don't know that I'm going to need to use it today, but we should at least show people. They've got this ladder feature here. This is kind of fucking dope. Let's go to this game.
So Jefferson had 97, Tutu Atwell 50. Oh, I'm on advanced. Sorry. Jefferson had 133. Lazard had 89 out wide. Atwell had 93 out wide. Then you have the Patriots who cares about what their stats were. Jalen Polk was the highest with 30 yards.
So one thing that I think is interesting here with this ladder, so I make his total about 72 yards, right? So I think 70 should be minus 110, if not minus 120. Being able to lock it in at minus 175 is huge value, in my opinion. This might be a play. I wish I were ready to release it now, but I'm not. This might be a play that I end up laddering up to 70. I really do really like it. Like you said, what were the numbers again? 90?
Lazard had 89.
93.
Jefferson 133. 93 from Atwell. And then Polk had 30, but Polk.
Right.
I mean, those are great numbers. And 52.5 is low for Marvin Harrison. I
know. Let's see the line history. It's definitely a discount. Last week it was what? What was it? It's probably around 60.
This 62. Was 67.5. We played it last week.
67.5.
Yeah. So
That
cover
one-
3. What's his target rate against cover 3? Do you know that?
I don't know. I don't have it versus cover 3, just versus zone.
I can look it up real fast. So like their heaviest looks are going to be cover 1 and cover 3. Let's just see what his target rate is against that for the season.
Pretty sure he's cooking cover 1. I don't think he's seen it a lot.
50%. Oh, that was last week. 31.9% target share. 3.3 yards per route run. I think I'm going to play this too.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I don't see how I don't play this.
52.5 is the best number I see. Hold on. We haven't released anything all show. I got to give him something.
I like this a lot. I'll just say that.
I think I'm gonna
that.
pull it. You wanna do a collab play on it?
I like it. Yep.
Let's do it.
When I see that yards per route run like that, that's all I need to see.
I'm going to
3.3 yards per route run on 50 routes. 213 air yards.
Best I'm seeing actually that I can get is a 53.5, 110, 365. You seen anything better?
Let's see.
These 52.5s have moved since I refreshed.
Yeah, I see 53.5 as well.
All right,
That's fine though. I'm fine with that. Minus 110.
Yep, that's what I'm locking in as well. Oh fuck, where's my betting phone? Here it is. Oh shit.
Love that one.
I do too.
Burned us last week, but he owes his coin, so
Let me get this
dang,
out.
that's so good.
Glad to give the people one. I've got one more lean that I really want to talk out with you. I might end up with one more. I want to pick your brain on Alvin Kamara when we get there.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. over 53.5.
53.5 is just too low for him. He's to me, like in my eyes, he's a legit like wide receiver 1 already.
Yeah, he's already proved it. I 100% agree. He might not be like up there with neighbors already, but he's right there in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. He like last week he was not getting the targets, which was super annoying.
Hey, Junior, I don't know how long ago you put that in there. Oh, just now. We both paid for something called Fantasy Data Suite. NFL.com did it free until last year, so now I guess you got it. If you find a free version, you let me know.
Yeah, Fantasy Points Data Suite, $200 for the year.
Yep.
I'll say it's worth the money.
Mhm.
I think it is. It gives you just so much data on stuff that you
And it's
can't
not
find
just-
anywhere else.
It's not just props. You can get team data, like all the coverage stuff. Like it's definitely worth the money.
Yeah.
All right, I got that out to my Discord. I got it bet. Anything else in this game? I wanted to ask you about one other thing in this game. Not near as strong of a lean. James Conner under rushing yards. It's super disgusting. But against this defense, let me see. They're 7-point dogs either was kind of the game script. New England likes to run the ball every play. They sucked. Kyron Williams killed him. Tyler Chandler killed him. And then Breece Hall went under this number. Any opinions?
Just depends how you script this.
Yep.
If you think that the Niners are just going to dominate this team, then I would like it. I think this is one of those divisional games where I think that the Cardinals can kind of like be real scrappy in the spot.
Yep.
So
I'm not touching
I'd
it.
lean off it. I'll say like I have a lean in this game that the line hasn't released yet.
Okay.
Maybe I'll text you it, but
yeah, we'll save that for the.
I'm gonna save it.
Man, I wish we
It's a
could.
real sneaky spot.
I wish we could have went live before Scotty got closed last week. Bro,
Yeah.
that was such a snipe on your part.
Yeah.
That was such. I wish I took the under 0.5.
Yeah, dude. Plus 390. I should have put more down on that. I only put 2.5 units down on that.
All right, moving on to the next game. It is disgusting, but we are going to touch on it. Denver and Las Vegas. This one's super hard to even touch on because Devontae, even though he's officially out now, there seems to be a trade looming that could happen at any time. We don't know any other players that are going to be attached to that. I don't like this game in general because that next lowest total on the board, though, 36 is the total here. Ugly game, -3 for Denver at home. Not a lot of movement throughout the week, a little bit Denver's way with Devontae officially being out. I have nothing, but I know you've got coverage stats, maybe a lean or two.
Yeah, Denver, second heaviest man team in the league, 46.2%, 35.2% cover 1, 22.1% cover 3, and 17.9% cover 4. Vegas, they'll run man at a high rate too, 11th in the league, 30%, 21.1% cover 1, 28.2% or 0.6% cover 3. Denver also blitzed a lot, the highest blitz team in the league.
Okay.
I do have a lean here. I wanted to talk to you about Bo Nix attempts. I played it last week. It was in a hurricane, and he still had 15 attempts in the first half. Then he went under. He dropped at 29.5 this week. So interested to see what your thoughts are on that one.
Let me go get you a number, a model number. 32.73. So, I mean, that's a pretty decent edge there. Let me see. Passing attempts. I mean, Vegas is allowing 32. Why would you game script anything else? Like you said last week, the drop was because Hurricane Helene.
Yeah. And I mean, this week they have Vegas has Denver winning a game for once. So positive game script there for rushing the football late. And then I think the Raiders are pretty bad in run defense so far this year. So
third worst rushing yards attempts allowed at 5.1. Yeah, that's pretty awful. My projections say over.
I would think that the Broncos end up running way more plays this week too. That defense is real. And they're going to blitz the crap out of Minshew. And I just think that the Denver offense ends up running considerably more plays this week.
Completion percentage is high. That's good for keeping drives alive. Yards per completion low. That's actually very good for keeping drives alive and not big plays. I like it. 29.5 is even available. That's 3 whole points. Like I said, 22.73 is my attempt or my projection. Right at
completions.
23 attempts. My completion is 19. We can go see what the market is. I'm right on with the market. I guess slightly into that over at 18.5, but I'm right there with the market.
Yeah, the first 3 weeks, 42, 35, and 36 attempts, and they were crushing Tampa Bay in that game whenever he had.
That's right. That's right. Bro, I lean over.
So do I.
You're right there with that.
Burned the shit out of me last week, though, but I do lean over again here.
What did you lay last week? I know it was on the show, but
31.5.
31.5. Okay, so you're getting a discount at 29.5 for sure. Basically everyone but FanDuel. I do consider FanDuel to be the sharpest prop book as well, so that's a good sign. Pull it up here, Matty Ice. Yeah, that's a strong lean for me. I don't know that I'm going to play it. Hearing you got burnt last week worries me.
That was in such a rainy game though. The thing is, if they can really establish a run game, they really leaned on it last week late. And they kept the ball out of Bo Nix's hands. So if they can establish a run game, I'm sure they want to do more of that.
Yep, agreed.
And so the Raiders' run defense just kind of scares me a bit.
That's fair. That's fair.
But it's just such a low number. I don't think their running backs are that good.
And even if it's a positive game script, they beat the shit out of Tampa Bay and he went over.
And I think he'll have more success moving the ball. Last week, they couldn't move the ball. He was 7 for 13 or something with -7 yards passing.
Yeah, he had 25 attempts and 60 yards. I don't know if I've ever heard of
he wasn't moving the ball. And so that just leads to more attempts right there.
Yeah, like I said, I think they'll be able to sustain drives against Las Vegas. This is also one of those weird divisional games, though.
Yep.
And I lived a portion of my life in Denver. Let me tell you something. They don't hate anyone more than they hate the Raiders out there. They don't like Kansas City, but they know Kansas City just going to whoop their ass, so they deal with it. They hate the Raiders. So they might throw it 1 billion times. I don't know. I've got here, story time. I've got my Denver Cup here. Let me tell you a story about this Cup. I've been to one Broncos game in my life.
Okay.
Russell Wilson's the starter. They're playing Vegas. Derek Carr is the quarterback. Both quarterbacks were Pro Bowlers the year before. The score is 6-9 in overtime. No touchdowns the whole game. I sat through the most boring game of my life. Not only that, I bought fucking 50-yard line tickets, front row. I mean, it was kind of cool, but at the same time, you want to see a game.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the pregame entertainment was better. They had F-16s or whatever fly over, and then they had people skydive in, and then the rest of it was jack shit.
I went to a Broncos-Browns game in Denver. Baker Mayfield was the quarterback. And so I think he threw a pick to like lose the game. And I walked out of that stadium and took my Baker jersey off and threw it right in the trash.
Did you really?
I was so mad, dude.
You should have had a Twitter then. That'd have been great content.
I threw it right in the trash.
That's hilarious.
I was so done at that point.
Oh man. All right. Anything else in this game besides Bo? Or do you want to pull the trigger on it?
I just like Bo.
All right. Nothing else in that one for me either. Green Bay and LA. I do have a lean in this one. Green Bay and LA. Let me see. Game is in Los Angeles. Green Bay is a 3.5-point favorite. Pardon me. Total's 47.5. DraftKings, MGM both still at 48 though. So 48, 47.5 is a total. One of the higher totals this week. I think third highest total. Should be a good game. I'll let you get into coverages, and then I have a lean.
Yep, the Packers 20.9% man coverage, 73.2% zone coverage, 20.3% coming in cover 1, 32% coming in cover 3. And then the Rams 19.8% man, 77% zone, 38% coming in cover 3. And then their next highest coverage, also cover 1, 18.2%.
Did you have anything official?
I do not have anything official in this. I do lean Kyron's rushing yards over. That's just a lean, though.
We're both leaning rushing yards over then. I'm actually on Jacobs rushing yards over, and it doesn't look good if you look at just these last two games. But the game without Jordan Love just was really piss poor. And then the next game, 51 versus Minnesota. I just like this as a bounce back spot for him. I've got him projected at, I think, 68, 69 yards. Yeah, and the market's at 62.5. I guess the big thing for me here would be attempts, though, because my attempts I have quite higher at about 17.5. So if he's at 14, I'm definitely not as big of a fan. If he's at 15.
He's been losing rushing attempts. They're trying to like keep him healthy, and I forget the running back's name, Elijah something.
Yep.
He's been getting more touches. That's just kept me away from Jacobs lately.
Yeah, that's why I think that stayed as a lean for me. Nothing official. I do like it. Definitely not going to make that an official play for me. You said you lean Kyren Williams. He looks like he's balled out the last two games.
Yeah, he's just getting so many carries. And I think that this Green Bay Packers rush defense is a little bit overperforming. Last week they got gashed on the ground. They held the Titans only ran the ball 8 times against them. So like that's definitely skewing their numbers.
They've had 3 backs go over 90.
Yeah, and I think like the way the Rams are playing right now is they want to just hammer Kyren Williams because they have those 2 like star receivers out.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Kyron's attempts, I think he had 24 and 22 the last couple weeks.
19 and 24. So yeah.
Yeah. So like he's in that 20 carry range. So, and I just think he's a great, I think he's a really good running back. So I think he can average over 4 yards a carry here. If he gets 20 touches, that puts him over this.
Yeah. I mean, even at 15 plus touches in his career, I think 15 is a good floor here. Over an 83%. And then obviously the Rams are just so injured. Like they're not a bad team. Yeah, they're not a bad team. They're just so injured right now. You got Tutu and DeMarcus. Is it DeMarcus Robinson?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you got speed, I guess, but the offense just doesn't scare
Jordan
you.
Whittington
Yep.
had a really good week last week.
I lean this. I kind of like this. It's all about the touches, though. Like if he's at
Yep.
15, what's the market at? Market's at 19. Fuck, I'd definitely lean the over.
I mean, he's going to get those carries. This is just what they're doing with those guys out. Like, that's what they want to do. They want to just hand the ball to him.
Yeah, even at 15 to 20, he's averaging 97. They've allowed 3 backs to go over 90. Damn, I like that one a lot, too. Kyron Williams.
What's your model have, Matt?
Only at 88.5. So it's an edge, but it's not like a huge edge. 88.5.
He's moved
Yep.
on other books.
Yeah, if you want the 80.5, you'd have to hit it. Looks like the market's coming up to where I'm at too, which is a good sign, but is it enough for me? I don't know. Anything else in this game?
I could see them also falling behind in this one.
Yeah, that would be not bro, look at fucking oh no, we didn't.
I can't believe we didn't. There's just more, just leaving coin on the table everywhere we turn this year.
We spent time on that play last week.
Yeah, I told you he kills the blitz. Whenever you see a team that blitzes a ton and you see Jordan Love passing line, like it's just you just want to hammer that. He destroys teams that blitz.
Yeah, and I'm only at 260 this week. I'm not forcing it this week. We should have nuked last week though.
Yep. I was scared of the knee. But like you just have to think that like there's no reason to bring him back unless he's fully ready.
Yep.
So we should have took it.
Agreed. Let's transition into the next one. We've got Seattle and the New York Giants. Malik Neighbors didn't practice today, questionable. There's not much out because of that, kind of deciding if he's going to play or not, or waiting to find out. Seahawks 6-point favorites. There are a few books at 5.5, but it's going 6. Totals at 44. I love Seattle in this spot. I think 6 is enough. I would still lay the 6. Not an official play for me yet, but I do like Seattle -6. No opinion on the total, though, and we'll let you get into coverages.
Yeah, so the Giants 29% of the time going to run man coverage, 66% zone, and that'll mostly come from cover 3, and then 26% cover 1. So just like a lot of teams running the same sort of schemes in the NFL. A lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 1. The Seahawks 26% man, 66% zone. Same splits here. 31% cover 3, 24% cover 1.
So I have
cover 4.
I have a couple leans. Nothing official from you, is that correct?
I have nothing in this one so far.
I have a couple leans. One's going to be Geno over 248.5. I'm at 266.5. Okay. 266.67. So
I like that for sure. Geno's been killing it this year.
And just what worries me is I told you I like Seattle -6. I could see this becoming a 2-score game by the second.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that whatsoever.
Backdoor cover type shit. So I might feel better actually if Neighbors plays. I'll transition into my second play. It's a DK over 63.5. I released this last week, also released the 100 plus, 15 yards away from hitting the dumbest lotto ever. But model projections are 79.52, so still a real solid edge for me.
He's been so good this year.
At 6+ targets, he's over this. I got to scroll. 6+ targets with Geno. Let me find him here. Really wish they would do this like they do the app. I like the way they have the app set up better for this. All-time 6 targets with Geno. He's over this in 67% of his last 30, 75% of his last 20. 3 of 3 this year, averaging 112 yards. Let's be honest. I'll be real surprised if I'm not on this. Oh,
no, I definitely like it.
Can we circle back for 1 second?
Yeah.
I do have a lean in the Green Bay game. I overlooked this. I didn't play it yet. Do you have an opinion on Jada Reed's over?
Jaden Reed's been killing it. He's been killing it. I'd like to look. The Rams have been super, super bad against the pass too. Let's just check and see how much they're allowing to the slot, because that is 32nd. Only 19.8% of the targets going to the slot. I lean off of that.
Yeah. His zone target share drops. Yards per reception is crazy versus zone, but
Yeah, I mean, that has to mean they're like heavily being targeted on the outside this year. Yeah, 51% of the time, second highest. So I honestly lean over on Dontavian Wicks. 11 targets last week, highest snap share he's had. Christian Watson been out.
how many targets?
11 last week, 13. Yeah, I mean, he was
Jeez.
peppered, but they threw a ton of times.
I'm just going to stay away.
Yeah, same.
I'm just going to stay away. Anything back on the Seattle game, or do you want to
Has
just
Kenneth Walker's rush line come out yet?
Great question. That's actually no, not yet. That's actually one I wanted to look at as well. I'll give you my projection since we're talking about it.
I definitely am a big fan of Kenneth Walker this week.
Jesus Christ. I'm over 100 yards.
Yeah.
108.
Yep.
We'll see when that comes out. That's definitely going to be a lean of mine as well. All right, Dallas and Pittsburgh. I have a play in this. Dallas is a 2.5-point dog. Let me double check on it. The game is in Pittsburgh. Dallas is a 2.5-point dog. Sunday Night Football primetime game. Total on this one is 43. Although there are some 42s out there, this one's kind of spread out. Total has came down from 44. Pittsburgh opened the favorite, has stayed the favorite. Really no movement on the side.
Couple of heavy zone teams here. 72% Pittsburgh, which is surprising to me. 22% man. 48% cover 3, so one of the heaviest in the league. And then Dallas, real heavy zone team. 80% of the time they're going to be playing zone. 16.9% man. 38.5% of that is going to be cover 3, and then the next highest is going to be cover 1 at 16.9%.
I have a play. Do you have a play?
I do not have a play in this one yet.
We talked about one play, but I'm probably going to lean off of it as well, the one we talked about. I do have a play. George Pickens over, what did I release this at? 51.5? 53.5, I believe I released it at. Market's right around the same number, 54.5. Even at that, I like it. I might have even played that. I need to double check. Love this. He's over in 3 or 4 with Fields. If you look at receivers versus Dallas, you think there's some shutdown defense. 2 receivers went over this line last week. I'm sorry, 3 receivers went over this line last week versus them. Aguilar went over this the week before. Shaheed and Olave both went over this the week before that. And then Cleveland, I'm sorry, they're your team. They've not passed the ball well this year. No one go over that. I just love this spot for Pickens. I played it last week. I was one of the early guys on it last week. I will give shout outs to Pop Bomb, though. He did drop it first. So all shout outs to him. But I did love it last week. I equally love it as much this week. Let me talk about some. Let me pull it up here. All right. So, I mean, you already touched on this. Dallas is running the 3rd most overall zone coverage, 21% target share versus zone, 16 yards per receptions, 15.88 average yards or average depth of target, and 34% of the team yards versus zone. So I absolutely love this spot versus Dallas. And I think his projection was at 70. Let me double check. George Pickens, 70.25 is my projections on Pickens. So I love this. Wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a ladder spot for me. But I have officially released it for one unit already.
Yeah, I like it. 35.1% target share so far against cover 3, cover 1.
Love it. I think cover 3 is what they ran, is what Indy ran last week.
Yeah, a ton of cover 3.
When he absolutely knew.
How do you feel about Freiermuth?
Muth!
I kind of lean over on Freiermuth this week.
Dude, the fall off after Pickens is disgusting. Projection for Muth, 31.08. I've got no opinion for you.
Okay. That keeps me off for sure.
31.08. Looks like Njoku did well versus him from the tight end position, but that's the only person. So, yep, no opinion for me there. Let's talk about Najee. I mean, I think I've played this every week. This is going to be the first week I don't play it, y'all. I'm sorry. 19 last week, absolutely abysmal. Although
horrible.
They just never got it moving. Like, I know they ended up only losing by, 3 points. Indy kind of dominated that game. Like the scoreboard didn't tell it. Joe Flacco came in, he diced them
100%.
up. They threw the ball well enough to get into the red zone. Fields ran one in. I think Fields ran two in. Just not a good game last week. And I'm not going to be on it. This Pittsburgh's the favorite. I don't like them being the favorite in this game. I think it's at best to pick them. I can't bring myself to play Najee this week. I will give you a projection.
I wanted to play it. I mean, the Cowboys got ran wild on by Kamara and then Henry, but that at the same time, that's Kamara and Henry, right? And then the Giants were just 14 carries for Singletary for 24 yards. So they figured something out last week, and that to me just keeps me off of Najee. But Jaylen Warren didn't practice today. Cordero Patterson didn't practice today. So, I mean, it's the Najee show.
If the game stays close, if Pittsburgh can find a way to lead that game, he's going to get a shitload of carries, and then he's going to go over. My model projections are 64, bro. Like, I'm right at market with this. No opinion on it. He's averaging 57 on the year, but you take that Indy game out, you see he was right at 70. So yeah. I think 70 would be a good spot for him to end up. I think that's probably where he ends up, but 64.5, I can't play that over.
Same.
As much as I love playing Najee overs, no. Hasn't scored this year. Maybe that changes, but at minus 105, you got me dead wrong laying those odds.
Yeah, no.
Let's see, running backs. Henry had 2, but that's Henry. Kamara had 4. I think 1 or 2 of those was receiving. That's just nonsense. Jerome Ford had 1. Yeah, no play for me there. Just the Pickens play for me in this one, and then I do have one more. We'll transition into the final game, New Orleans. Monday night game, Saints at Chiefs. Chiefs are a 4.5, 5-point favorite. Got to keep in mind, Rashee Rice is out. They got another receiver out.
Yeah, how do you feel about that line?
I make it closer to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Saints.
I like the Saints plus the points. I still have the Chiefs slightly favorited at home. So, yeah, 4.5-point favorite. Total of this 42.5, 43. Joel, I'll let you go over coverages, and then I do want to pick your brain about Kamara.
Sure. Yeah, so the Kansas City Chiefs, 35.3% man coverage. That's going to be 8th highest in the league. They're mostly going to be in cover 1 23% of the time, cover 2 10% of the time, and then cover 4 22% of the time. And then the Saints, pretty similar split here, 35% man, 31% of that's cover 1, 21.7% cover 3, and then 20.5% cover 2. It's one of the higher marks in the league.
So I'm all over Kamara in like every way imaginable. I think I'm wanting to go receiving yards over, but I like his rushing yards over, his receiving yards over, and then obviously the combination of each. This has bumped up a little bit. Original. This was at about 50.5 when I was first looking at it, so it's come up a little bit. It might have been 51.5. I understand the fact that they could be losing, so maybe the negative game script. That's why you avoid rushing yards. That doesn't mean don't look at his reception yards. I mean, there's going to be plenty of checkdowns. Dobbins had 30. But then if you look at Justice Hill, he abused him. He had 52. So, I mean, since he didn't do much, Bijan only had 21. That is a little bit surprising. But let's look at his targets. Oh, you can't look at targets. Receptions. He had 2 receptions. This isn't something that I'm racing to bet. But, man, 28.5, averaging 43.5 this year. My projection is – next game, Alvin Kamara. Bro, I'm at 54. How do I not take this?
I mean, I think at that point you have to. I bet Zach Moss to catch and have over 13.5 yards against this Chiefs team, and he had 1 catch for 13 yards. He's like the only running back that has gone under that with a catch against them this year, which makes me sick to my stomach. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I think that the Saints probably have to pass more of this game too.
Yep.
More than they have like those early games, Carolina and Dallas, they dominated those games. And exactly. I mean, like absolutely dominated. Like Derek Carr only threw 20 sometimes in each of those games. He's probably dropping back a lot more this game.
He had 224 yards in the first half. He threw like 5 passes in the second half.
Can you filter for a loss with Derek Carr? And you should be able to just control F Carr.
That is so smart.
There we go.
Wow. 8-9, brother.
So, yeah, I think that's a good look. He loves to check down to Alvin Kamara.
Let's go look at his targets. Targets in a loss. Let's see what he's averaging. 8.2 targets per loss with Carr.
That one game against Philly is kind of weird with 3.
Yep.
This year.
Well, let me go look at a minimum of 3 targets. I mean, I just think that's a floor in a game like this. Even over in 13-17 with Carr with 3 targets.
Let's check the Chiefs are going to run a lot of 2 high, so I'll look at his.
Doesn't that even feel more like check down?
Yeah. To me that screams check down.
Same.
%17 target share against 2 high. He's got 8 receptions on 30 routes run against it.
We're only
Actually, no, 22%. I lied. He's the second highest target share against 2 high looks.
And we're asking for 30
11
yards.
targets out of 32 routes.
We're asking for 30 yards, 29 yards. What do you think about Carr at 209? That might tell me something too. I'm leaning.
I like the over.
Yeah, I'm at 248. I mean, that might be a little high, but like
I kind of projected him in as like 30 to 35 attempts. When I look at his chart with 30 to 35 attempts, it's not like amazing, I don't think. 58%, 7 out of 12.
It's like you said, like they whooped some ass this year. So like,
yeah,
they go down a score early, and like, you know, I'm sure first half, as long as it's within a score, they're probably going to force feed Kamara still on the ground, get him the ball, you know, reception targets. But come second half, like they're going to have to throw. That's why I'm leaning Kamara receiving yards, but I do lean Carr passing yards over as well. Do I release one more? Do I release 2 on the show? Do I take Kamara here?
I mean, it's all pointing towards Kamara. Let's check the coverages real fast. The Chiefs cover 1, cover 4. Mostly cover 1, cover 4.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. You changed my life with that Control F. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got you, dude. Cover 1, cover 4. Target share this year. I'm thinking Olave is going to be pretty high on this. Kamara still has a 20.6% target share.
I think I've heard enough.
How much is designed? 57.1% designed. Let me just check one more thing. It's looking like this is going to be a lot from screens. So,
see what they're allowing versus screens.
Yeah. Just how many yards per screen? If it's high, I would say it's a definite go. Passing, throw type. Oops.
Am I seeing this right? Is
Screen
this
pass? Yes. Chiefs are allowing 26.3 yards per game to screens. 10.38 yards after the catch per reception. It's 12th.
And that seems like it's right there.
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely like it. I think he probably is going over that. Do you prefer his rushing, receiving, or do you prefer?
Rushing scares me in case they get their ass
Check
whooped. I
down.
don't think it's going to
Let's
happen,
check on check downs.
but Mahomes is Mahomes. I don't think they get whooped, though. I really don't.
The Chiefs allow the 5th most yards after the catch per reception on checkdowns as well.
5th most?
Yes.
Man, I think I've heard enough. I got a 28.5, 120 at MGM, best I see. DraftKings and Caesars just bumped a yard.
Seventh highest yards per route run on checkdowns.
I think I got to be all over this.
I'll run this as well.
Let's go. Let's run it. That's 2 plays.
I'm down.
That's lit.
I like this. I like
you
this.
do one right up. I'll do the other. Which one you want?
You could take Kamara.
Perfect. All right. I love it. I love it. That's all I have, and that's the last game. Is there anything else in this game? Like I said, I lean over yards for Carr. I'll tell you what I have on Olave and Shaheed. I think I was a little over on Shaheed too. Olave 60.92, so actually slightly under there. But a negative game script could affect that.
Now, do you prefer rushing, receiving though on Kamara at all?
Let's look
That's
at
high. That's high. 91.5 is definitely high.
Yeah, it's Caesars at 87. Let me tell you if that's still there. Do you have a Caesars where you're at? Yeah, I still have 87.5 at DK, MGM, and Caesars. 86.5 at Rivers, actually.
What do you have his receptions at?
Only 4. That's why it worries me a little bit.
That is a little bit worrisome. So, like when he has 3 to 5 receptions, I think that's like a fair number, right?
Yeah.
52%. It's a little iffy. That's
Let me see here. What if you bump that up to 6? I mean, I think 6 to 7 targets is reasonable expectation here. Let's bump that to 7 and just see if I feel any better. Not a lot better. Let's go to receiving yard. I think
what's been his longest reception in each of these games? Like
we've got an 18, a 57, a 27, and an 11. So outside of that 57, nothing that's like unusual. I'm going to add Carr and then just back it out. With Carr, he's only had a handful of games over 25. He's had a handful over 20. He's got a 36, 21, 25, 28. Well, that's 18, 57, and 27 since he's played with Carr. The market has his reception long set at – they don't have it up yet.
Running back receiving yards are always just so dicey for me.
I'm updating the way I track my bets, adding an extra section so I can like go through and look at that kind of stuff. I would like to think it feels like running back receiving yards have been good to me this year. A few stick out. Eckler, I think Eckler twice.
Why did Bijan only have 2 receptions?
Yep. For 21 yards.
And he's probably like, I guess Justice Hill is probably the best receiving back they've played.
That was really who I was like.
Percentage.
I feel like Justice Hill was the most comparable. But
Yeah.
Bijan was right there too with 21. Like, I'll give you that.
Running back target rate, the Chiefs. See, like this concerns me. They're 30th in the NFL in running back target rate at 12.9% of dropbacks. This one's not till Monday, though, so I think we could hold this one for now.
I agree.
Let's just hold it for now.
I'm definitely leaning his receiving yards over, but we'll hold. All right, I like it. Anything else before we get off here? That's the show.
How do you feel about Kelsey, real quick? No Rice.
It's such a get back spot. I'm at like 55
Jesus.
yards now, and I know the market's at like 58 or something.
It is, yeah.
56 and a half. I lean over, bro. I lean over. I do.
He's burned me twice already this season, so I like physically can't bet him, but I'm sure.
Goddard had 170 when that team was beat up. Versus them, you know what I mean? Like,
and there's nobody else to really throw to.
I know. I love
there to throw to.
This one's not until Monday. Let me see how many units I'm up come Sunday. I might be on both these guys.
That's fair.
I do like it. I love the read. I mean, who else is he throwing to? He's going to go back to what he knows.
Yeah, like there's going to be, I think, 8 to 10 targets here. It's just, I don't
agree. He had 9 last week. I agree, bro. 7 to 10, right? 7 to 11-ish. I mean, I know he's getting older, but that's a body of work right there.
Yeah, 9 targets last week after Rice left. They don't, like, now their weapons are just so lackluster.
Yep.
You got Justin Watson on the outside, and you got, I mean, Xavier Worthy is cool and all, but he's there to just run and take the top off the defense. He's not a guy that you're just going to want to target over and over.
How do you not take this? Just because he sucked the first 3 weeks, that's how you don't. Like, I completely understand that, but
it hurts me. It hurts me because if he chalks me for the 3rd straight time, I took him the week before he went the fuck off against Atlanta, figuring this has to be the spot where they're going to force feed him a little bit. But I mean, now that I don't know.
There's no one else to throw to. Like,
there isn't.
Smith,
there is.
What are we doing?
There really isn't.
No. I like it. I like it almost as much as Kamara. I like Kamara because I'm getting more model support. But if I would go through my model and take away, I mean, how many targets are you losing per week? Like, those are going to go to Kelsey. 5, 6, 7 targets. I mean, what was Rice averaging? At least 5, 6, 7.
He was way up there.
That's what I'm saying. Even if Kelsey doesn't get them all, he's getting 2 to 3 extra going his way. I think he's got a floor of like 7 targets, and his numbers with that floor are ridiculous.
I agree. I'm going to sit on that one, but I don't know how I don't end up on that.
I agree. I feel the same way about Kamara receiving yards. Everyone that's watching, I think I'm leaning off of the rushing and receiving. I want to just stick to the possibility of a negative game script. And if the Saints beat the fuck out of him, I hope he takes 130 yards.
Fair.
That's probably how I'll play it. All right, right at 8. I do want to run through each of our plays. I didn't write yours down, so I'll go through mine first, then you go through yours, and then we'll probably call it. So I've got we played it today, released it on stream. Marvin Harrison over 53.5 yards, minus 110 at bet 365. MGM was at minus 115, so there's plenty of 53.5s out there. Derrick Henry over 83.5 rushing yards. On show, you can get 83.5 now. When I played it, there was only 84s open. Like, obviously, both numbers. I took Derrick Henry over 84.5 rush yards. I got that at minus 105. George Pickens over 54.5 receiving yards. Locked this in minus 110. Bijan Robinson anytime touchdown. Locked it in at minus 101. Still think the 125 is playable. Allen Lazard were both on this one over 33.5 receiving yards. I locked this in 110, 365. And then Bijan Robinson over 24.5 receiving yards. Lock this in minus 117 at Caesars.
Yeah, and I have Amari Cooper over 51.5 receiving yards at minus 110. Deshaun Watson over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 170. Zay Flowers over 4.5 receptions at minus 112. Brian Thomas Jr. over 49.5 receiving yards at -110, and then Jordan Mason over 88.5 rushing yards at -115.
Let's go. Pretty solid card. I think we got 12 plays out there for the people. So hopefully we go 12-0. Appreciate all the support, y'all. Make sure you please like, comments, retweet, and then if you're on YouTube, make sure you please subscribe.
And then make sure to sign up for Props.cash. What's the
Sharp25. Use code
Sharp25
Sharp25 to get 25% off your first month using Props.cash. Appreciate all the support they've given us, all the engagement, all the likes, all the retweets. Helps us grow. We really appreciate that. Appreciate you guys if you use our code when we sign up.
Enjoy the football tonight.
All right. Good luck, everybody. We'll catch you all tomorrow or next week. Let's go.